I'm Rocco Testani. I'm the head of the education practice for Eversheds, Sutherland in the United States. Today, I'm pleased to introduce Glenn Stanfield, who is a partner in the international education practice at the law firm. Glenn has represented some 35 American universities and colleges all over the world in establishing campuses and programs. He is the first British lawyer to be a member of NACUA. Glenn, what are the key considerations for an American college or university in establishing a program overseas?
Firstly, thanks for Rocco. I'm very much enjoying being here. I think there are sort of three areas that we should focus on in terms of what the key areas are. The first is how you set up overseas, and you have a choice between either setting up a branch of the institution here or actually setting a legal entity up. Often overseas campuses or programs involve a joint venture, and therefore you have a partner, and therefore that probably drives more the legal entity than actually setting up a branch. But that's an option you have. Secondly, looking at the sort of law in the area. Clearly there are parts of the world where the law is very different to the law here in the States, and you need to be very careful on how you deal with that. And the third area, which we can talk more about, is how you actually set it up from a legal point of view.
Should due diligence be done in connection with establishing a foreign campus, and if so, what would be the nature of that?
That's a very good question, Rocco, one that we're often asked. And we're asked it in the context of, should we pay for due diligence, and if so, when should we pay for it? And we think that you should carry out due diligence at the very start of it. And it needs to cover a number of key areas. Two really key areas for us. One is on the financial side, to make sure that you will make the returns that you hope to make from your country operations, and that if you have a partner, that partner doesn't go bust, because clearly that would have some very substantial impact on you. And secondly, from a legal point of view, making sure that your partner has the powers to enter into the arrangements, that it's within the regulatory framework, and I guess most importantly, that your IP is covered, so that you don't lose the IP protections which you have in the States.
So if a school has made a decision to establish a foreign campus, what are the primary contracts that would be involved?
We think that actually the contracts are around four areas. The first is making sure that you enter into heads of terms at the very beginning. Those heads of terms, sometimes called a memorandum of understanding, and they set the framework for what the arrangement is going to be, because we have found there have been a number of misunderstandings between an American institution and its partner as to what the nature of the arrangement is going to be. Secondly, to ensure that to the extent that confidential information is being transferred by you to your partner, or vice versa, that some sort of non-disclosure agreement is entered into. Thirdly, and again a rather key point, is that you need to make sure that your partner is not shopping around with others. So to try and avoid that, you should try and get that partner to enter into an exclusivity agreement. And then that will then help to frame the legal agreements themselves.
So finally, can you talk about some of the tax issues that come up in this context?
Yes. The key one, I think, is making sure that you get the monies out of the country in which you're setting up with as little withheld tax as possible. And there are many different ways and approaches that one can use to that, but you shouldn't assume, because you have a not-for-profit status here in the States, that you have for-profit or not-for-profit status in the country that you're going to. Secondly, from an employment point of view, employment tax is obviously different outside the States to within the States, and making sure that we properly interact with that. And the third point I want to make is that there is often federal tax and state tax, but there's also local taxes as well, and making sure that there's a proper interaction. And I should say that what I'm saying is from a non-US point of view, because I know you have a very strong US tax practice here.
Thank you, Glenn, and thank you for watching today. For more information about the Eversheds Sutherland education practice, please visit our website, which is at eversheds-sutherland.com.